Do you refrigerate all your food because you think it keeps it safe, fresh, and free from spoilage? You might believe that cold equals healthy, that the fridge is your ally in preserving nutrition. But what if everything you thought about food storage was wrong? What if the very foods you trust to nourish your body and fuel your brain are quietly turning against you, producing chemicals and compounds that can damage your health over time? Experts across the board, from urologists to nutritionists and even neurologists, are raising red flags. They warn that some of the most common foods in your kitchen, when stored incorrectly in the fridge, undergo chemical changes that can release harmful substances. Substances linked to cancer, cognitive decline, dementia, chronic inflammation, and digestive damage. And the worst part? These toxins often come without warning. No smell, no odd taste, no visible signs, silently building up in your system with each meal. Think about it. Every time you reach for that potato, onion, tomato, or even honey in your refrigerator, you could be unknowingly feeding your body compounds that undermine your energy, disrupt your blood sugar, inflame your brain, and accelerate aging. This isn't fear-mongering, it's science-backed reality. In this video, we're uncovering 5 common foods that should never touch the cold walls of your fridge. Foods that most people store the wrong way without realizing the hidden danger lurking in plain sight. And the final one on this list, it's in almost every household refrigerator in the country. Yet, research has shown that keeping it cold over time can contribute to brain inflammation, memory loss, and long-term cognitive decline. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand not just what to avoid, but why these everyday storage mistakes can have serious consequences for your health. You'll learn simple, practical ways to protect your brain, preserve your body's vital nutrients, and maintain high energy levels, all by making small, intentional changes in how you store your food. If you've ever wondered why your energy dips, your memory feels foggy, or you struggle with digestion despite eating healthy, the answers could be hiding right in your refrigerator. And once you see what we reveal in this video, you'll never look at your fridge the same way again. Let's start with something most of us keep in our kitchens every single day: potatoes. They seem harmless, right? You grab a bag, toss them in the refrigerator, and assume you're keeping them fresh, safe, and ready for your next meal. But here's the shocking truth. Storing potatoes in the cold actually triggers a dangerous chemical reaction inside the tuber itself. You see, potatoes are naturally full of starch. When they're exposed to the low temperatures of a fridge, much of that starch converts into sugar. And this is not just a minor change. It's a chemical transformation that has serious consequences when you cook those potatoes later. Whether you fry them, roast them, or bake them, the sugars react with amino acids in a process called the Maillard reaction, creating a compound called acrylamide. Acrylamide is not just a scientific term. It's a chemical linked in multiple studies to cancer, nerve damage, and even cognitive decline over time. The most alarming part? You cannot see it, smell it, or taste it. It's completely invisible and silent, quietly accumulating in your system with every meal. For older adults, frequent exposure is especially concerning, as research indicates it may contribute to memory loss and the degeneration of nerve cells, subtly increasing the risk of dementia. And that's not all. Refrigeration also affects how your body digests potatoes. When starch becomes sugar, it causes spikes in blood glucose and insulin levels, which is particularly dangerous for people managing diabetes or insulin resistance. So what seemed like a harmless habit, storing potatoes in the fridge, could actually be impacting your brain, blood health, and long-term energy balance without you even realizing it. Now, let's talk about storage. The best way to protect your potatoes and your health is to store them in a cool, dark, and dry place, such as a pantry, cupboard, or even a basement shelf. Temperatures should be moderate, not freezing. Make sure they are kept away from direct sunlight, as light can trigger green patches. And here's an important tip: never use plastic bags for storage. Instead, opt for a paper bag or a basket with airflow, which prevents moisture buildup and allows the potatoes to breathe. Also, always check your potatoes regularly. Remove any that have begun to sprout or turn green, because these indicate the presence of solanine, a natural toxin that can cause nausea, headaches, or, in severe cases, neurological symptoms. Buying potatoes in smaller quantities ensures that you consume them before they start deteriorating. Think about it. A simple change, moving potatoes from the fridge to a dark pantry, can have a profound impact on your long-term health. It's a small, easy habit that protects your brain, your nervous system, and your blood sugar, all while keeping the potatoes firm, nutrient-rich, and ready to cook. So next time you reach for that bag of potatoes, remember, the fridge is not your friend. Keeping them at room temperature is a quiet act of self-care, protecting your body every time you cook and every time you eat. Next up, onions. They're a kitchen staple, the base of countless recipes, and something most people grab without a second thought. You probably assume that putting them in the refrigerator will make them last longer, keep them fresh, and prevent waste. But here's the truth. Refrigerating onions is one of the most common and harmful food storage mistakes. When onions are stored in the cold, damp environment of a fridge, they begin to absorb moisture from the air. This extra moisture accelerates decay, causing the onion layers to break down faster. As they deteriorate, onions start producing sulfur compounds, the same compounds that give them their pungent smell, but now in excess. These compounds are more than just an odor. They can irritate your stomach, disrupt digestion, and contribute to chronic inflammation over time. Chronic inflammation is linked to many serious health issues, including cancer, cardiovascular disease, and even cognitive decline, making it one of the silent threats in your kitchen. And there's another hidden danger. Onions are naturally rich in antioxidants like quercetin, compounds known to protect the brain from oxidative stress, support memory, and fight free radicals that accelerate aging. Cold temperatures in the refrigerator destroy these antioxidants, leaving your onions nutritionally weaker. Essentially, storing onions in the fridge not only reduces their shelf life, but also strips away the very nutrients that make them beneficial for your body and brain. So, how should you store them to preserve both flavor and nutrients? The answer is simple. Keep onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area. A mesh bag, paper sack, or woven basket allows airflow and prevents moisture buildup, keeping the layers firm, dry, and nutrient-rich. Make sure to store onions away from potatoes, because potatoes release gases that speed up spoilage and further degrade the onions. Now, what about onions you've already cut? Once sliced or chopped, onions lose their protective outer layers, making them more susceptible to bacterial growth. The best approach is to wrap the cut portion tightly in a dry paper towel, place it in a sealed container, and store it in the fridge, but for no longer than 1 to 2 days. Beyond that, the risk of harmful bacteria and nutrient loss increases. Pay attention to the signs. Onions that have been refrigerated too long may start to develop a watery, soft texture, an overpowering odor, or visible mold. That's a warning that the chemical balance has shifted and it's no longer safe or beneficial to eat. So, by keeping onions at room temperature in a dry, ventilated space, you're not just saving flavor. You're protecting your stomach, reducing inflammation, and supporting brain health. Something as simple as where you store onions can quietly influence your overall well-being, energy levels, and longevity. Next time you grab an onion, remember, the fridge might feel convenient, but it's quietly robbing you of the onion's natural power. Proper storage is a small but powerful act of self-care, preserving not just your meals, but your health and vitality over time. Now, let's talk about tomatoes, a beloved ingredient in kitchens across the world. From salads to sauces, from sandwiches to soups, they're in almost every meal. But here's something most people don't realize. Refrigerating tomatoes can seriously damage both their flavor and their health benefits. Tomatoes are delicate fruits with a unique chemical makeup. When exposed to cold temperatures, several harmful things happen simultaneously. First, the texture and taste are compromised. A fridge may keep them from appearing spoiled, but it actually breaks down the cell walls, causing the tomato to become soft, mealy, and far less enjoyable to eat. You may notice that a tomato that tastes juicy and vibrant on the counter becomes dull, watery, and flavorless after refrigeration. But it's not just about taste. Cold storage also has a significant impact on the tomato's nutritional profile. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant known for its ability to fight free radicals, protect against certain cancers, especially prostate cancer, and support cardiovascular health. Refrigeration slows down ripening, which may seem helpful at first, but it reduces the production of lycopene and other key antioxidants, leaving your tomato nutritionally weaker. Essentially, the fridge is stripping away the very compounds that make tomatoes so protective for your body. And there's another hidden danger. Chilling tomatoes can disrupt their natural enzymatic activity. These enzymes are responsible for maintaining the fruit's nutrient density, flavor, and color. Once they're exposed to cold, the enzymes slow or stop working, which means you're losing more than just taste. You're losing health benefits every time you cook or eat a refrigerated tomato. So, how should you store tomatoes to get the most out of them? The solution is simple. Keep tomatoes at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. Place them on a countertop or in a fruit bowl where air can circulate. This allows them to continue ripening naturally, fully developing their flavor and maximizing their antioxidant content. For slightly underripe tomatoes, storing them in a paper bag at room temperature will speed up the ripening process without exposing them to harmful cold. When stored properly, tomatoes remain firm, vibrant, and rich in lycopene, vitamin C, and other protective compounds, making them not just delicious but incredibly beneficial for your heart, brain, and immune system. So the next time you reach for a tomato, remember, the fridge may seem convenient, but it robs the fruit of its flavor, texture, and most importantly, its protective nutrients. Storing tomatoes correctly is a simple, everyday step that keeps your meals flavorful while quietly boosting your long-term health. Now, here's one that will truly surprise you: honey. Yes, the golden, sweet staple in nearly every household. Most people assume that refrigeration preserves its freshness and prevents spoilage. But in reality, chilling honey can actually degrade its health benefits, sometimes in ways that quietly affect your brain and body over time. Honey is a remarkable natural food. It's not just sugar in liquid form. It's packed with antioxidants, enzymes, and beneficial compounds that have been studied for their anti-inflammatory, immune-supporting, and neuroprotective properties. Regular consumption of high-quality honey can help protect the brain from oxidative stress, reduce chronic inflammation, and even support digestion and gut health. When honey is stored in the cold, however, its chemical structure begins to change. The low temperature causes crystallization, which is harmless in terms of taste, but it also slows down or even halts the activity of its natural enzymes. These enzymes are essential for maintaining honey's unique protective properties. Over time, repeated exposure to cold can reduce the effectiveness of antioxidants, leaving the honey less potent and diminishing its ability to protect your brain, combat inflammation, and support overall health if there's more. Honey is naturally hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture from the environment. Storing it in the fridge can cause condensation inside the jar, which may lead to fermentation or a subtle growth of microorganisms if the jar isn't sealed perfectly. While rare, this can degrade honey's purity and its natural health benefits. The shocking takeaway? Many people are unknowingly consuming honey that's nutritionally weakened, believing it to be a superfood. Over time, this could subtly contribute to brain inflammation, memory decline, and reduced antioxidant protection, especially if you consume it daily as part of your diet. So, how should you store honey to preserve all its natural goodness? The answer is simple: room temperature in a sealed jar, away from direct sunlight. A kitchen cabinet or pantry shelf is perfect. This ensures that the enzymes remain active, the antioxidants intact, and the honey maintains its natural color, flavor, and health-promoting compounds. Think about it. Something as simple as taking honey out of the fridge could dramatically improve the quality of what you consume every day. It's one of those subtle, quiet changes that can make a huge difference for your brain, your digestion, and your long-term health. So next time you reach for that jar of honey, remember, keeping it cold isn't safe or necessary. It's actually robbing it of its natural power. Let it sit at room temperature, and you're giving your body the full benefit of one of nature's most remarkable healing foods. By now, you understand a fundamental truth that most people completely overlook. Not everything belongs in the refrigerator. The very foods you think are keeping you healthy, potatoes, onions, tomatoes, garlic, and even honey, can actually lose their nutritional value, release harmful compounds, or degrade in ways that quietly harm your brain, your body, and your overall energy when stored in the wrong environment. This isn't just about food. It's about the way small, everyday habits can shape your long-term health. Storing these foods properly may seem like a minor detail, but it's a simple, practical act of self-care that impacts your cognitive function, digestive health, inflammation levels, and even your vitality. Over time, these tiny choices, whether you choose to refrigerate or store at room temperature, can make a noticeable difference in how your body and mind feel, how much energy you have, and how well your brain functions as the years go by. Think about it. The choices you make in the kitchen can either support your health or quietly work against it. Every time you grab a potato from a pantry instead of a fridge, you're reducing your exposure to harmful acrylamide. Every time you keep onions dry and ventilated, you're protecting your brain from oxidative stress. Every time you store tomatoes, garlic, or honey at room temperature, you're preserving vital antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and enzymes that your body relies on for everyday protection and longevity. The most powerful part is that these are effortless, low-cost changes. You don't need fancy gadgets, complicated diets, or extreme lifestyle changes. Just awareness and small adjustments in how you store your food. These little acts are like quiet investments in your health, paying off every day, week, and year. They may seem small now, but over time, they accumulate into better memory, more energy, stronger immunity, and a healthier, more vibrant life. So here's what I want you to do. Start with what you have in your kitchen today. Check where your potatoes, onions, tomatoes, garlic, and honey are stored. Make the necessary changes to protect their nutrients and your health. And here's an extra challenge. Share this video with someone who believes everything belongs in the fridge. Help them discover the hidden dangers that could be affecting their brain, their energy, and their well-being without them even knowing it.
Have you ever noticed that aging doesn't just change your body? It quietly changes how you see everything. The way you look at people, the way you measure time, the way you understand what truly matters and what never really did. When you are young, life feels loud. You are busy proving yourself, chasing goals, running after approval, believing that if you just try harder, push further, and endure longer, everything will eventually make sense. But aging has a way of stripping away noise. Growing old is not simply about wrinkles, medications, or gray hair. It is about facing truths you once avoided because you were too busy surviving. It is about lessons that gently knock for years, and then, one day, demand to be heard. After 70, life stops pretending. There is no longer energy for illusions, no patience for false priorities, no desire to impress anyone who does not truly see you. The masks you once wore, for work, for society, for family, begin to fall away. Not because you failed, but because you finally earned the right to put them down. You begin to see life clearly, not through ambition, not through fear, but through experience. You realize that many of the things you worried about for decades never truly mattered. And some of the things you postponed were the only things that ever did. For many people, this realization feels bitter. It arrives quietly, often late at night, in moments of silence. It comes with memories, with regrets, with questions that no longer need answers, but acceptance. And that bitterness can feel heavy if you resist it. But for the wise, this stage of life becomes something else entirely. It becomes freedom. Freedom from rushing. Freedom from proving. Freedom from chasing things that no longer call your soul. Because when you stop fighting the truths of aging, something remarkable happens. Life begins to feel lighter. You start choosing peace over pressure, depth over noise, presence over performance.